Yo, 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 what up, what up? It's Justin, and I am here for episode 2 of Survival of the Artist live show. There are 24 episodes of this show already up as a podcast on SoundCloud and coming soon to Anchor. But I have moved to Instagram because I want to get more people involved with this and make this a great conversation face to face, because who hasn't been doing a ton of Zoom stuff in all of 2020 and into this year? So, my guest for tonight is Angie Rose. So here we go. Let's bring her on. Everybody tuning in from Angie's page right now, my name is Justin. She is now on the Survival of the Artist. Used to be a podcast. There was 24 episodes. Now we're going a live show on Instagram. So this is episode 2. My first episode was with singer and songwriter Alex Johnson. You might know her from the shows So Weird or Instant Star from way back in the day. So now guest number 2 is Angie Rose, and I know Angie Rose very well because she's in New York City, and I feel like I've been talking to you quite a lot lately.
Yeah, definitely more than usual. It's lit.
Yeah, Angie, everyone go on Rapzilla, YouTube, and check out Pen Game 101 by Angie Rose if you want to see some domination of lyrics and freestyling and everything. She killed it, and we still haven't had another episode since then. So you're just we're holding that there for you.
Wins.
All right, so shout out to everybody tuning in right now.
Yeah, what's up, familia? How y'all doing? Love.
Feel free to drop some questions throughout, and maybe we'll get to some of them. So my first question for you is the same for everybody. Who are you? Now this is you explaining, because I could explain, but you know yourself better. Who are you? What do you do? And what is your claim to fame?
Dang, right? It's on the project. It's easy. I've been saying it for years. Puerto Rican girl from the Bronx that loves Jesus and hip hop. Plain and simple. That's the fact.
Yeah, and in doing some research and looking back, I saw something from you in, I think, 2015, and you said the same exact thing. So you've stayed on brand.
Wild.
You've stayed super consistent.
Yeah.
So I know you talk about it a lot. You were raised in the church, and you were raised on hip hop through your brother. But when was it that you realized that you were very good at it and that you might have something going on?
Shoot, I'm still learning. I'm still dealing with self-doubt consistently. But yeah, I think I remember my first time feeling like, oh, this is crazy. In like 5th grade, there was this boy I liked, and we were like fake dating. And we were like the king and queen of rap in our school. So we used to do it. We used to they used to bang beats on the lockers or bang beats on desks, and all these people used to just gather around, and it was like, oh my God, this is fun. And yeah.
And it's funny because when thinking of the question, I was just thinking of like hip hop raised me, like kind of, I think you may have said it too. And then I have a book, I put it behind, I don't even know if you can see, but it's like hip hop raised me. It got cut out, but like literally right here, it's a whole book about the history of hip hop. Hip hop raised me. So I was like, that's Angie Rose. That's Angie Rose. Okay. So another thing you do, and you do it very well, is you can sing. So I feel like most people who sing, like that's kind of their goal, to be a singer. But you went rapper, and then you're like, oh yeah, I can also sing. So was there ever a desire to be a singer and not a rapper? Like how does that go?
I think every other week I'm like debating between am I a singer or a rapper. I just love music. But I had like both worlds when I was a child. I had the piano in my dad's church. I had my second mother who sang, and then I had the block and my friends and my big brother. So yeah, I don't know. I think I've always been like intimidated or insecure about my singing, and I've always been a little more confident about rap. But I love both equally. It's really interesting.
Yeah, and I mean it's kind of cool that you're able to just weave through, like 1 second you're singing, 1 second you're rapping, the next second you're speaking Spanish. So you're kind of just throwing it all out there, and it's really cool because it creates that unique sound, like that, I guess, that vibrant sound that you're going for.
Sorry, I'm seeing all the family come in. Sugar, I see A. Ruiz, all the love.
Give some shout
Yeah,
outs.
no, it's family. It's family. It's just exciting to see. Um, but yeah, no, I didn't even know how to fully like speak Spanish. I had to go to Puerto Rico when I was 13, and my grandma just wasn't about letting me speak English. Like I'll be like, Grandma, I'm hungry, and she'd be like, yeah. So I had to learn. And still trying to learn day by day. So
Well,
thank you.
the food is the easiest part in Spanish to figure out because everybody knows, what things are called. It's figuring out how to, I guess, ask for it or or
Right.
or say exactly like what you want more of. Like my
Yeah.
my grandmother from Puerto Rico, fluent in Spanish, obviously, and whatever. And she'll forget sometimes too, and she'll just be talking to you in English, and all of a sudden she starts speaking Spanish. And we're like, okay, like
We don't know what you say. Yeah.
we're trying to follow along.
That's so funny.
I understand it pretty well, but I cannot like figure out how to speak it. Can't do it.
I feel that. That's like most of my friends that are Puerto Rican. They'll be like, I can understand everything they're saying, but you won't catch me responding. I respond back in English. I'm like, hey, do your thing. But my grandma wasn't with it, so I had to learn.
You you always knew when you were a kid when they were talking about you, when like your
Oh
mom
yeah.
or your grandmother, whoever you'd walk in the room or your cousins or whatever, and then they start speaking in Spanish. And you're like, I know
Not
what
my
you guys
family,
are
bro.
doing.
They was speaking English, Spanish. They was I know what we saying. You gonna hear it? Okay, sorry.
All right, so I saw in an interview where you revealed that you used to practice freestyling in your younger days after maybe smoking a little bit. You no longer smoke, but assuming it's like any skill where practice makes perfect, like what's running through your brain when you freestyle? Like how are you putting these words together? I got to watch you do it a couple of weeks ago, and it was almost like you were rattling off verses.
Interesting. I don't know. I have no idea. I just remember the day that I was like, I think I can do this. Everybody, it was a circle full of people, and it felt like double dutch. I used to be on a double dutch team when I was a
Yeah,
kid, and that's how it felt. Like it felt like the beat was double dutch, and I was like, look, if I get in there, I gotta jump, and that's how it feels. I think when I'm rapping, it's just like, yo, stay on beat, keep your feet up. Like, well, not keep your feet up, but like stay on
yeah.
beat, listen to what's going on, and think forward. And yeah, I don't know. It works out a lot of times. It's very fun.
Do you think it's easier to do it on a beat or off a beat?
Definitely on a well, if off a beat, then you have the benefit of kind of being able to slow down, get poetic with it, swing around. On a beat, though, you can rely on the cadence. So it all depends. Definitely off a beat is easier, but it's way less fun.
Yeah. Do you like when people give you words, or you'd rather like kind
So,
of just look around
yeah,
and
when I
figure things out?
if I have to do like a show or like yeah, if I'm struggling or it has to go for a long time like with Wado, I was like, man, we got to keep going, but I don't know what else to talk about. So that's when I appreciate it. But other than that, like what I really enjoy is like freestyle ciphers. Like that was the funnest thing. I haven't been able to do that with my friends in a long while. I guess everybody started growing up. But when you could just bump and you spin a verse and somebody catches on the line that you just left off on and they keep swinging, like that's man,
Yeah,
incomparable.
yeah. It's from my very limited history of rapping. It's a very fun time to do it, especially when you're with people who are really, really good. And
Yeah.
then you just feel like awful, and you're just like, all right, just go, just save all of us. All right, so in the Bronx, hip hop, Spanish music kind of like hum through the city. That's the whole vibe of the city. It's so cultural. So, how much did your surroundings play into the artist you became? Like,
Oh,
did you
super
just like
huge.
absorb that like a power? Just like I need that Bronx energy.
Well, I mean, I think the question came at perfect time, and my best friend just logged in. Vanessa, love you. She's been my best friend since literal birth. She's older than me, and yeah, so that was a part of the environment. Her mom was my second mom, and that was the Latina in me. That was the
Yeah,
sing. That was the love God, like for real love God, though not the religious love God. And then at the same time, it was the Bronx. I went to a predominantly black school when I found out that I could rap. So I'm in a middle school full of people that love Jay-Z, full of people that were singing Ja Rule. But then also, her and I were walking through the streets singing No Scrubs by TLC at the top of our lungs. So, yeah, man, the environment it's definitely molded and shaped me in a huge way. I can't even pull it out of me at this point. Like, this is what it is.
Do you feel, does it, when you perform, right, I know it's been a while, but when you've performed in Puerto Rico, I'm sorry, is there like sort of like a different thing that takes over you there? Because you have a Puerto Rican side, or are you that New Yorker that's coming with full Puerto Rico power in Puerto Rico?
I find that almost everywhere I go, the audience kind of pulls out a different element or a different side of me. But yeah, in Puerto Rico, see, the thing is, when I performed in Puerto Rico, it wasn't like a stadium, it wasn't like a big stage, it wasn't even.
Yeah.
It was like we built a stage out of pallets, like the pallets that we got to give the stuff out to people. That's what we used to build the stage. So there, what I loved about it was it killed ego. Like it was just a moment with family. Like I had never experienced something like that, and it could sound weird to people that maybe don't believe the way I believe, but I saw Holy Spirit. I felt like I saw Holy Spirit literally engaging with the people. I walked on concrete with no shoes on, and nothing burned my feet. There was pebbles all over the floor. I didn't have a scratch. I didn't have a mark up. That's an experience that I don't know that I would have had in New York, because the environment there allowed for me to embrace the moment, and God moved different. So yeah, every audience is different.
Yeah, I feel that. So for you, was getting into music or the arts, like, was that always the plan? Like, what would have happened if you didn't become an artist? Who would Angie Rose be right now?
So it was definitely always the desire, but I didn't know that was a real possibility, if I'm honest. I just thought it was something that people did on the side. I probably would have just been like a missionary girl, like in Mexico or in like Africa or something. Yeah, I've always been like super free spirited. I wanted to be a lawyer at one point. I wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to be this. I wanted to be that. But the thing that really stole my heart was being in places where I could just be free to talk about who God was and what He was doing, see miracles, and that's always been the passion.
A rapping or artist lawyer would be very helpful in the entertainment industry for sure.
Ain't that the fact?
You could go back and get, go back and grab like a quick degree, and then you'll always get like the best checks, the best the best deals on everything.
You ain't even lying, bro.
All right. So, what do you remember? And this took a bit of a deep dive. So, what do you remember about this Angie Rose? I don't know what you heard about me. Beauty in the eye of the holder. Jehovah holding his eye on me.
Sheesh. I don't even remember is that from Angel Eyes?
No.
Oh man.
That is. Well, do you want to take another guess?
No, but I'm pretty sure it's from that project, right? Sipping Coffee in a Bakery, or not?
I'm not sure if it's from there, but it is from your song "Wannabe" from 2014.
Oh my god!
Uploaded.
Yo.
It's unlisted, but I since I have the keys to what happens at Rapzilla, I was able to find it from 2014. You with my mortal enemy, the Yankees, rapping in front of Yankee Stadium. Looks like probably your family and all your real good friends behind you.
Yeah. Wow, that was a whole different girl. That's the girl that really. So one, that wasn't even like my song. That was a DJ that sent me the beat, and it was like my first time ever writing a full record. I didn't even know what it was like to write a hook. I got to release it on my dad's birthday. I thought it was such a big sign. Like, man, that girl, I miss that girl. That girl had not been hurt, had not been jaded, had not been burned, I didn't even know fear fully in the music industry. All I had was like the desires and the dreams. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, I remember that.
That Angie Rose probably got a lot more sleep too.
Oof, yeah, definitely. But we coming back. We coming back around. Coming
do,
back around.
do you remember? Do you remember any other lyrics from that song? The song starts off with you singing. So the part that I said was the first part that you actually started rapping. Because I think a lot of people, if you look at the comments, they're like, "Oh, I thought this was just going to be like another girl like singing," and they just started
That's
rapping, and we
funny.
were like, "Whoa!" So that
Wow.
was basically your introduction. You're like, "I,"
Jeez.
you point to your eye. "I don't know what you heard about me.
I mean, beauty in
Beauty
the
in the
eye of the
eye,
hold,
the
the hold
holding."
been holding his eye on me. No, I don't remember. Oh
Come
my
on, you were so
goodness.
good at this game for pen
Hold
game.
been holding his. That song is so old. Oh my gosh. Been holding. I don't even know. I think that I was just trying to showcase that I could flow. I don't even
No,
fully
you
remember.
did because you were just going bar for bar for bar. I was like,
Oh
okay, all
my
right, we get
goodness.
it, we get it. You can
All
rap. You're
right,
from New
take
York.
it easy. That's funny. Wow.
When you
First video, everything. That was a crazy experience.
not a bad debut. When you think was the last time you performed that track?
Um, I don't know. Had to be more than 4 years ago, I think. Yeah, definitely around 4 years ago or more, maybe. Even then, I didn't release a lot of records. So, like in that time, I had I think 3 records, and I was still rapping over like the Fugees beats and Nas beats. And it was an interesting start to a career.
Yeah, but it was. I mean, like I said, it was. A lot of people you bring up their debut and they're just like, oh yeah, that. But like this, this was not bad. Like that was
Oh,
that was
thank
good.
you.
You could still rap. You
Oh,
rap
I
then. You could
appreciate it.
still rap now, and you sing. Okay,
Uh,
so you grinded it out many years, or you had grinded it out many years as an independent artist. So, what were some of the hardest parts about those days before being signed?
um, I don't know. I think it started getting harder after, if I'm honest. But not because it got harder, but because I had never really had the pressures.
Yeah,
I kind of just was doing music. I loved music, and then when I couldn't do music because I wanted to go to Puerto Rico and help people, I did that, and yeah. So I don't know. The hard parts were, I guess, finding. I couldn't make the music that I fully like sonically wanted to make all the time because I was kind of subject to the beats that I could get. So that was definitely
right.
hard. It got really fun getting into rooms with people that could play pianos or play guitars and things like that. Um, but yeah, I don't know that it was hard. I think I had more pressure on myself but it was just me. That
Yeah,
now I realize, man, if I could, like, you know how they'd be like, oh, I wish I was skinny, like when I used to call myself fat. That's
yeah,
kind of how I feel now. Like I wish I had the pressures that I thought I had before. I was like overwhelmed, and it's like, nah, this is more overwhelming. Now there's so many people to appease, but also beneficial. There's
right.
pros and cons.
So to me, it kind of sounds like the difference between like getting an internship for a job you want. So that was you as the independent artist. You're the intern. You're like, they don't pay me anyway, so I'm just gonna do what I want. I
Literally,
can take it
yeah,
all. And then you get the job, and you're like, oh, all right, I got a 9 to 5. I got to be here. This is
yeah,
my dream job, but this is a lot of work.
yes, exactly, exactly. But fun nonetheless. Different
Right.
experiences. I've gotten to see things that I would have never been able to afford, or not would have never, but not yet.
It might have taken a lot like longer to get there.
Yeah,
Um, so now you are on Capitol CMG. So
yeah.
how did you know that this was the record deal like for you and you made that decision like, all right, so I'm going to go from the intern to the full-time employee, and what has it meant for your career now that you've taken that step?
Yeah. Well, so when I first started doing the rap stuff, like I said, I was just a college kid. I ended up working with a team called Drop Rockin',
Yeah, I
and
know
they
them.
started kind of So they started kind of like putting me on to different people. They showed me Andy Mineo. They showed me who I had actually seen as C Light in a church in the Bronx. And I was like, that's the same guy. This is crazy because I thought he was fire. And then they played NF, and it was just that video with the mic stand, like all the way back then. And I was like, man, if I was to ever sign whoever is behind him, I would like to have that same team.
Yeah.
And fast forward a couple of years, and I ended up having the same A&R that found and moved him, becoming my A&R. And I was like,
Wow.
you know what? is this the move? Let's go here.
It did pretty well for him, I would say. So
Absolutely.
so that's
Yeah,
so that's
absolutely.
a good move. Is the song you're thinking of All I Have?
I really can't. Can't remember right now, but I know it was just a room, and the walls were like beige, and he had just the mic stand with his black on black, and he was just spitting, and it was just
Yeah.
authentic. And I was
I,
like, man. Also, Uncle Reese at the time too. Like there was a lot of things that I was falling in love with.
yeah, it was great. I remember that NF. I remember NF in like 2015. I was working at my other job, and all of a sudden, I get this press release, and same thing. Like I see that video, and I was like, "Yo, who is this guy spitting?
Yeah,
Rapid fire. He could sing.
yeah,
Like their branding's on point." And then probably you may have had this thought too. Like most of us were like, "NF. How do you brand the name NF? Like it's just NF." But it it worked. It worked.
yeah,
But yeah, I can see because at that point I really didn't know much about CHH at all. So
yeah.
when I
It's the
heard
same
that,
boat.
I was like, "Yo!" I was like, "This is legit." And then
Yeah,
I went on to discover all of these wonderful people in the community. I'm
yeah.
like, "Yo,
Now I got a
this is dope."
crash course in like a matter of I think 2 or 3 months. I was like addicted. I would be in the library in school. I didn't even have a laptop yet. It was it was rough times. I was trying to come up, and I would just be in the library listening to all these people. Like I found Canon, and I was just
Yeah,
like engaged. I was on YouTube stuck. But yeah.
yeah. So you're someone who also has this entrepreneurial spirit. You
Mm.
started the Unstoppable Threads clothing line. You're into fashion, obviously hip hop culture. That all kind of goes together. So, what's the business side of Angie look like, and what are some of the challenges in like having your own brand and clothing and stuff
Mm.
like that?
So super difficult. I, I think that one of my flaws is trying to take on too much and trying to juggle everything at the same time. So like when I had the clothing company, I also had an after school program. We also had the foundation. We also and if I'm honest, everything just melted together and it was just too difficult.
Mhm.
And so that's the downside of the business side. Just overly ambitious, and
Yeah,
I just take off. Like I get an idea and I'm like, oh, let's just do it.
yeah,
And I don't know how to like start off where I should start. I kind of just want to be like up here. I'm like, yeah, let's like build the biggest after school ever and get all the kids, you know. So learning day by day how to gauge the difference between my emotions and my passions and my purpose. Um, yeah,
that's kind of like all of us, though, right? It's like let's try 100 different things. One of them has to work. Like one of them has to go amazing, and then you wind up you
mm,
burning yourself out. And
yeah,
maybe one of them could work, but because you're doing the 99 other things too, it never gets that chance.
yeah,
I get it.
yeah, absolutely.
That's what happened to me with this survival of the artist thing that I'm doing right now. I had to
Mm,
like stop. I had to refocus, regroup. All right, let's try this again. After
yeah,
6 or 7 months off, um, I get it. I'm
well,
ready.
we're here. We
Um,
surviving.
we survive. Survival of the artist. We surviving. All right. So, what would you say thus far is your biggest success or rock star moment as an artist when you were just like, "Yo, like this is it."
Mm, sheesh, I don't know. Um, I have no idea. I don't. Maybe I
Maybe you
haven't
didn't
had
have
it
that.
yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'm grateful. I don't know. Dang, bro, I don't want to sound weird. I want to see miracles. I want to do a concert where people could walk out of wheelchairs. That'd be that's the rock star moment. I got to perform at the UN after
Oh,
after like being in church, and they were like, "Oh, you're called to the nations." I got that whole like word and exciting thing, and then literally like the next day, I got an email to come perform at the UN. I thought that was amazing.
what is a UN performance like? I couldn't imagine a hip hop
Wild.
show at the UN.
So it was like a conference that they do called MMUN, and they bring like kids from all over the world. They bring representatives from all over the world, and you just kind of vibe. I mean, I had to look at a kid like 3 times because I was like, "Call me Cardi B one more time. I'm gonna hop off the stage, little boy." Yeah, but hey, but it was just amazing. The map was behind me, and the world was literally under my feet as well. It was just a profound experience. I have a desire to literally go around the world and do this thing, and so that to me was just motivation and inspiration that it was possible.
Yeah, that was like your sign, right? You
Yeah,
literally got to
absolutely.
perform at the United Nations, and
Right.
your dream was to create music that unites nations, maybe. So,
Yeah, it works. Hey, you're a rapper. Let's go.
retired. Um, I just
Yeah.
ask a lot of questions now. That's all I do. So,
Uh-huh.
what would you say is your worst moment, or maybe the thing that you regret most?
Mm. I don't know that I can nail it to one thing. Uh, but I think just I'm still learning. I'm still in this process of learning what it looks like to say no and no. I think I've always appreciated being malleable and being like the person that could kind of like, yeah, I'll do this and I'll try that. And I think one of my biggest regrets is just knowing like, yo, that's not the move. That's not what I want. So no, like I think I've been through, and it's not just for one specific instance. It's just a lot of either small things or it's either music or people or where it's just like having that strength to say no is huge.
Yeah, yeah, no, I get it. It's again those 100 different things, right? It's like you only had to say yes to 5 of them, but
Dang.
you become focused on like being a people pleaser, or you work
Yeah,
you work
everything you
you
can.
try to fight the pros and cons, and you find too many pros. That's what always happens to me.
Or you think every good thing is a God thing, and then you end up upset that the enemy has something to play with, and it's like baby girl, you didn't even discern, you didn't even try, you just went.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's real. All right, so I'm gonna bring up a sore subject. How tough was it for you to miss out on a whole year of touring, appearances? Especially after being signed and that announcement, you have all this music coming, and it's just like,
Super tough. But it took a long time for it to even really feel tough because I don't think that I was fully believing that we would be in a pandemic this long. I'm like, all right, it's cool. You know what? I was tired anyway. I'm gonna chill, refresh, whatever, and then
yeah,
get back at it. Um, but on the other end of it, like, I'm so grateful. Not like I've cried more than I think I've ever cried in my life in the last couple of months. But I needed that because I was just moving. I was just going, 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 and I wasn't even realizing the amount of pain that I was pushing to the side and storing and
yeah,
and overlooking. And it was like even just getting more in tune with the things that I want to say, the things that I want to be about, versus the things that people think I should be about. Everybody and their mom was so in love with my potential that they were telling me to go left, go right, go left, go right,
hmm,
and nobody realized that I was just a human trying to figure this out. And so when it stopped, I got to stop spinning, and and I'm still getting to. I'm finally starting to feel healthy mentally.
awesome.
And now I have newer music to go back to these stages with. Thank God they didn't. They still want me on these shows, so we get to go back with a newer me, with the upgrade version. And I said it in a confession recently. I was like, I don't want to hear just a crowd clap for me anymore. Um, and I've learned the difference. And I only want to hear a crowd that's been like transformed or that's received something that was impactful, not just memorable.
Yeah, yeah. So, what does that immediate future look like for you? Like, are there already shows or tours and things lined up? Things that I guess,
Uh,
if you're allowed to talk about it.
yeah, there's definitely shows lined up that I'm excited about. Sunfest is still happening. We just don't know when. I was booked for Universal Studios. Just waiting on
Nice.
confirmations of those things. But yeah, it's been an interesting, you know, it is interesting, this journey. I don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow, and what I'm learning is that I can't put my faith in that. I can't put my faith in people's promises. And that's another reason to be grateful because nobody can let me down if my faith is only in God. If my faith isn't in man, if I'm just grateful for experiences and I'm just grateful and open to lessons, then nobody can let me down. So yeah.
Yeah. All right. So the final question, and then if you still got time, we'll grab some in the comments if people got some good questions. What would you say is the key to the survival of the artist in 2021?
Mm. Uh, humility. Humble yourself, man. Like we have to. We have to be willing to know where we went left. There's a quote that says a U-turn is better than more steps in the wrong direction. But to do that, you have to humble yourself and admit that you did some things wrong, or you made the wrong steps. And it doesn't have to be wrong for anybody else too. So I guess two things is humility and like discernment in your obedience. Because sometimes we can have so many people speaking to us and they can all do math that makes sense. In philosophy, we learn about logic. Like they have the statement, oh, if an animal has 8 legs and a spider has 8 legs, then every animal must be a spider. That's logic. It doesn't make it true. And so learning the difference between what can make sense here versus what makes sense and is factual in your soul, I think is the only way to survive.
Dope. All right. So everybody, if you're an artist and you just heard everything Angie said, that is her key. So lock it up here. I think it's so crazy.
Thank you, guys.
Every time I talk to you, and people, if you have good questions, drop them in the comments now and we'll grab some. But you always have like such good quotes or phrases or sayings or like things you retain that somebody told you. And I can never remember anything. Like I'll like someone be like, oh, it's like my dad always used to say, or oh, my grandmother always used to tell me. So if someone asked me that, it's like, I don't know. What did my dad tell me? What did my grandma
I don't know
tell
what
me?
they were saying.
I'm sure they told me a lot, but I never am able to like retain any of these phrases. But you always give me like
I'm sure the lessons resonate.
Like every interview.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Maybe it's me. That's why I'm always asking questions. I guess because I can't remember anything. That's why I have to interview people.
I'm sure you remember the facts, though. You remember the things that resonate.
Yeah. Yeah, it's mostly just baseball stuff and food. All right, who's got a dope question for Angie? How do you discern
I saw
the difference
Ian ask
between?
Something.
Yeah, I see it right now. I'm reading it. How do you discern the difference between advice worth taking on and advice to be dismissed?
I think one with not in a place of arrogance. You've got to discern the source. You know what I mean? Like who's talking to you. And it's not to say that people that aren't in your same mind state or don't have your same philosophy or theology can't drop gems. That's completely inaccurate. That's arrogant. But also knowing, like, I think it's hard because I'm still learning it. But I think getting to know your soul in a real way, not just like your emotions, but like when is your soul most comfortable? When is your soul at peace? And I don't just mean comfortable in a weak sense, but like, when are you breathing? When are you breathing deep? And what words are coming to mind that provoke you and remind you to breathe, and remind you to be better? If you're absorbing information that's causing you to tense up, that's even you can like your body, we literally our vocal cords close when we're in situations that we shouldn't be in. Like our body tells us things. So I think it's important to gauge the source, pay attention to your body, pay attention to the cues, and I think trust. You got to trust God and look for God's voice in people. Getting to know who God is and how God speaks is a journey. But when we can get it and hear Him and pull Him out of people, then you're winning. Everything else can be tossed with love, but tossed.
Dope. People leaving comments, don't use the question button. Last time I pressed the question button and it froze my whole Instagram and I lost my interview. So I'm super paranoid. So just drop it in the comments. I will not touch that button. Where will you perform first this year?
Still waiting to figure it out. I've got a couple of things up in the air. I love speaking. I stopped speaking, like I forgot or something, and so we're definitely looking to engage more with like churches, with youth. So we're doing the big stuff, and that's fun. But also, like I want to be with the people. So I'm chilling. I'm waiting for God to move, and then getting on a plane. Most likely it'll be a plane. I can't see it being New York.
Spirit Airlines?
But it could be.
Spirit Airlines?
Hey, you already know. Thank God. Fly with the Spirit.
All right. How do we support female CHH more? Should there be female CHH labels?
Well, I don't know what Mm. I was gonna say I don't know what female CHH is, but I get it. But I think that concept alone, like tossing it, treating, let it, just enjoy your favorite artists. Enjoy the artists that you like. Support them. Comment. Share their stuff. Buy their stuff. Make videos. I had Hassan Sasson is his name in social media, and it blew my mind and it warmed my heart in a way. He just, on his story, he was playing my music in the background while he was doing something, and he just stopped and he's like, "Yo, I just want to take the time to shout her out for her authenticity and for her consistency and all these things, and things like that make all the difference in the world." Here, having somebody genuinely support you, and not just in the DMs, because like that comes off weird if I'm being honest. Like if you're only supporting in the DMs and like, but like commenting, sharing, even posting on your pages, things like that are huge, because then it's like we're not just a token thing. We're like a genuine artist, and other people have to respect that over time.
Yeah, I'll add to that, since I cover tons of artists, and it's kind of a brain switch in the beginning because you never really think about, oh, who's my favorite male artist, or somebody asks you like who's your favorite guy artist only. Don't mention any women, no nothing.
Yeah.
So I mean we're in the age of, and we always should have been, where equality is super important. So if you want to hold people in high regards and on equal footing, then people should be equal. Like Angie
Mm,
Rose is a hip hop artist. She's
mm,
not just a female hip hop artist. She's an
mm,
artist, just like
so,
Drake, just like whoever else that might be.
mm,
Because you're both doing the same thing. You're both making music. You're both out there hustling.
mm.
So I mean, at the end of the day, let's kind of hold people to that same standard too.
It's
And
dope.
yeah, you always, there's always like a sort of connotation too, right? I'm sure you've experienced. Oh, she's pretty dope for a girl, and it's like, but I rap better than all those
Why?
guys.
Oh no, that's funny.
um. So yeah,
Yeah,
just keep that in mind. Um. All right. Let's
it's
see.
good. Yeah,
Any Angie Rose NFT
the
art
best way to
piece
support the
music
man.
in the near future?
Yo, Finestro, shout out. I see you, G. Um, it's an idea, concept for sure. Zombiac is always my dude.
Hmm.
So his brother is still doing illustration and art and all that stuff too. So he sent a video recently about NFTs and all that good stuff. So I'm sure in the next couple months we'll get to cooking and have some fun with that.
Okay. That'd be dope. I'm still a little confused on how NFTs work. I think I get it.
Yeah,
I think I get it mostly, but
I
but
fake get it, but
if,
just be present. You know what I'm saying?
if someone's like, "Hey, let's do an NFT," and they're like, "Okay, cool, let's do it. We'll get it done." Uh, I'm
Yep.
gonna I'm gonna take one more question. How should an up and coming gospel rapper approach the rap game?
Mm. Authentically, or not at all. And that sounds crazy, but bro, there's so many actors in the world. We already have that. I've been super hurt by church culture, and it's not to throw shade at church culture, but like it's to unveil the truth. Like the acting and the facade and the like, it doesn't help anybody. If you're gonna call yourself a gospel rapper, then be a gospel like not be a gospel rapper, meaning let the gospel be your life, and also let the flaws be present too. Like just show people that this walk is real, that Jesus walks with us. um yeah, I think that's super important.
Yeah, that's dope. And watch this show. If it's gonna be on my Instagram post after, you can watch the old episodes. I have tons of episodes of just artists talking about where they started in the very beginning. We spoke about it
Yeah.
with Angie Rose in 2014, and kind of the steps that they
Wow.
took to get to where they're at now. And it's an amazing thing to see. And it's crazy to see where some of the artists I've spoken to have gone since I spoke to
mm,
them, because we already thought that they were at that place where it's like, oh, they did it.
mm,
I think one example is no big deal. I spoke to No Big Deal right after he signed to Capitol.
wow.
Now he's not even on Capitol. So I was
Yeah.
like, Dill, how did you go from Indie Tribe to to getting signed, and why did you make
Yeah.
that move? And then now, if I have to speak to him again, okay, why did you leave the label? So like things can change so much for artists and their stories. Just watch their grind and pay attention. Like your favorite artist or brands, you should like look to emulate those people. Don't copy them, but see what they're doing and kind of like, okay, this is what they do that does really well. How can I apply that to myself?
I think also just be like, and not to come against that, but just that's been a source of slight anxiety for me. Like it's like the desire to compare or to do, and then you try to do what they did. If it doesn't work the way it worked for them, then all these opinions. So it's like, yo, you will. What's your goal? Do you want to be famous or do you want to have joy and bless people and be successful? Like I think determining what success is for you personally is the first step and the most important one. Because if not, it's like numbers are and everything's doing all these things and you're depressed. And then how many people do you, like for me personally, I've struggled with real things, real emotions, real depression, like things that I haven't even begun to like speak about. But like, what kind of testimony is that I would live and have all this success and then end up losing myself or giving up myself? There's no benefit. What about the people then?
Yeah, absolutely. And success is relative. For the person who has no streams, 10 streams is success. So figure out what that success is that you want, and that's what you go for. All right. So final thing to you is why you have a new project out, Unstoppable. Why should everyone pick up Unstoppable? And where can everyone follow you and check out everything you're doing?
I think that everybody should pick up Unstoppable because I believe that it can resonate with everyone. There's like different genres or different sounds, but the concepts and the textures in the verbiage, they're strong. And I think that they have things that people can just grab onto to just decide to be better. Like you can quote them as if they're yours. That's how it's written, to be able to take things that you liked or things that inspire you and say it like you said it yourself, like you wrote it yourself. And they can find me everywhere. You could ask Alexa to stream Angie Rose. You can hop on Pandora, Spotify, YouTube. Super simple. We're everywhere now. Thank God.
Angie Rose Music with a K.
That's the one.
That's the one. All right, Angie, thank you so much. Good to see you again. I hope I get to see you soon. Maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. The world needs to open already. This is getting wild.
This is year number 2. So actually, well, it's technically year 1, but we've entered our basically another year. So we're almost done. But thank you so much. Thank you for your time, for dropping
always
wisdom.
Good talking to you, man.
Yes. And that's it. Everybody, thanks for tuning in. Familia, Angie Rose.
There you go.
Peace.